Good day buddies. In today's video we're finally doing the long overdue update of our 3 years old fire ant colony. Their last one excluding shorts was over a year ago. It's even a quick clip since we only inserted it on one of our other pet ants update in the past. Update had been delayed and delayed since we lost most of their video files, and we're hoping to find them. Until I give up and decided to make an update based on the footage that we have. They're staying on this new bioactive ant farm for over a year now, so we also included the build of this 3 tanks setup. Anyway, if you remember, we gave them a DIY replica of the ant store nest. We lost all the video files of them occupying the nest. And we already disconnected it over a year ago, since the colony almost dug out of the hydration. Fortunately, before that happens we already have this setup prepared. One of the tanks was the old broken setup of my air biodiversity before. If you can remember it, you're definitely an OG on the channel. We added some magnets to secure lid, and covered the bottom of the magnets temporarily while it sets, since we're using super glue to attach them. This will prevent the fumes of the adhesive to mess up the glass. We fixed the broken part, then let it set for a day. And while waiting we prepared a rock nest for the colony. This is similar to the one we built for our diorama colony, except for this one we didn't use lava rocks. And like usual we used super glue as adhesive, and cotton to fill the gaps in between the rocks to make a greater bonding. And this one will also be a planted setup. Anyway, the rock nest will help the plants to survive, since the ants will no longer need to dig the soil excessively. We'll just need to make sure and provide them lots of space using the rocks, creating nesting rooms as much as possible. Just like that, we created a lot of nesting place. We also let the glue here to set for 24 hours, before we install it to the tank. Our fire ant colony is really huge buddies, so we decided to use 2 tanks to provide them enough space. After setting the rock nest, we laid a layer of activated carbon for filtration. We're not making a room for drainage layer, since it's useless for this species. Don't worry about the watering, as I will share how I do mine later. And for the substrate ratio and components, it's all available on the description. Anyway, we did the same with the other tank, though we obviously have more and deeper nesting rooms here. Next thing we did is to get some plant cuttings on one of our terrariums. Let's cut some of this overgrowing plants. Then planted them all inside our new terrariums. We got 2 types of ficus here, and also added bacularies, as this will have strong roots that can withstand the ants. We gave the other tank the same plants, and also added a creeping Charlie. And after planting both of the tanks, we topped them with this pine barks for more natural look. But knowing my pet ants, they will cover it with substrate once they've arrived for shore. We hydrate it and let the plants and its roots to settle here for more than 6 months, before we finally let the colony to occupy the place, and they did it immediately, looking as happy pet ants as ever. Both of the tanks had been occupied on the spot. And the ants digging isn't that excessive as expected, as we gave them a rock nest on each tanks for them to settle. They're exactly 2 years old when the move happened, and they celebrated their 3rd birthday here last April. That makes them living here for more than a year now. This is a mature ant colony buddies, so they really ate a lot. Sometimes we feed them here on top of their roc's nest. But most of the feeding is done on their third tank, which is the feeding area. We have no plants here, so it's easier to clean the leftovers. This tank is just beside our massive Trichomemex destructor colony. This colony themselves just turned 1 year old, making them neighbors for a year now. Anyway, whenever food is offered late, some workers will start to forage upwards, climbing everything in search of food, even on this tank which we rarely offer food. Workers still aggressive to look for food. And we just cut this Bacillus plant here, since it started to lean towards the lid. Look at the worker ants so interested in the cut. Anyway, what I love most about my pet fire ant colony is the way they segregate their waste. Here on the first tank, they got an area only for insect carcasses and seed coats from what they've consumed. While here on the second tank, they've got a waste area alone for their dead comrades. Or we can just label it as the colony's cemetery. And here on the third tank, they've got an area for ant poops. Or we can just say the ants' comfort room. We can't see a lot since I just did the cleaning maintenance yesterday, but we can see the waste residue present on the glass. And how high this mountain of poops really are. Anyway, let me say welcome back, buddies. And for those new to the channel, you're also welcome to D Colony. As I have said earlier, we don't, or just rarely feed them on the first tank. So we'll just letting the plants here to overgrow, though the creeping Charlie dried out due to our ficus benjamina shading it too much. Having a bioactive setup for a huge ant colony really saves us a lot of work, since they can stay healthy here for a long period of time due to the bioactivity. We only do minimal cleaning maintenance, since we have a cleanup crew present here. One important thing we mustn't forget is to check the plants regularly, and trim them if needed, as they can be used by the ants as escape routes. Look at this new shoot of Bacillus plant, it looks like a bamboo shoot. This plant will surely reach the lid in no time, so we need to be careful. Anyway, our fire ant colony continuously eats, maybe just a few hours break between each meal. Imagine how much waste they're producing. So, raising them here really help us a lot on keeping them healthy. And about the tank's hydration, I water them alternately, keeping one of them much drier than the other. And this moving of broods happens most of the time as a reaction on each hydration. Each watering had no schedule, buddies. Since we judge it by the color of the soil, before consider hydrating it if it looks dry. I'm already used to it since we got tanks like this without drainage layers, way back. But if you're first time trying, you can water it if 50 to 60% from the top of the substrate looks dry. The sphagnum moss, which is part of the substrate, will help you a lot on judging the moisture of the soil, since identifying a dried moss is so easy. Just make sure don't overwater the terrarium. Keep in mind that it's better to make it a little short than hydrating it too much. Anyway, our pet ants also farming ant cows here, a farm within an ant farm. How cool is that? Look at them caring for this mealybug, patiently waiting for it to secrete honeydews. There's not much of this mealybugs present here, so I plan to introduce more soon to keep my ants busy farming them. Which is a natural thing that this ants do in the wild. What do you think of these idea, buddies? And this is it for the update of our 3 years old fire ant colony. I just hope you have learned something from this video, guys. Be a genie for the first time by granting my wish and tapping the like and share button. That would help a lot. This is D Colony, saying goodbye for now, but hoping to see you on my next videos.